I'm sorry, Richard. Okay? Councillor Doughty? Anybody else? Councillors? Councillor Fraser? Anybody know where she is? I have been told that one of the witnesses that I thought wasn't attending has actually arrived and would like to come forward and answer questions. Emma Howlett, I don't know. Right, so sorry, Emma, I didn't call you earlier in part of the Council Hayes group because I didn't know you were here. I thought you weren't coming. Would you like to come forward and if anybody has any questions? Perhaps you could start by telling us what your connection is. I think you're a parent of a child at Lyndale, are you? Yeah. No.
Parent of a child who attended Lyndale and passed away 10 years ago.
Yeah, just to make a call.
You want to come forward and just see if anybody has any questions they want to ask? I'm not sure at what point you came in during the evening. Oh, have you? Well, so sorry about that. Right, I think we've gone to ask Emma a question. Phil.
It's difficult without knowing those backgrounds, so you forgive me. Did you attend any of the consultation meetings? Could I ask if you could perhaps describe which one you went to, or which ones you went to, how you thought? So we hear from you about what you found, how you felt it went.
Ultimately, I found that the parents weren't listened to. The points that they were trying to put forward wasn't considered, and was almost shoved off in my opinion.
Was that what was called a call in here, or was it?
Yeah, it's one of the
Consultation. Thank you.
I'm sorry that your child passed away. So I feel it's sensitive in asking you, but did your child have PLLD?
Yeah.
Would you have wished him to go to either of the schools that are suggested as an option?
Right, if I can give you a very brief picture about Anthony's education. Anthony was diagnosed at 3 with having a condition called Batten disease, which is a neurodegenerative brain disorder. He actually went to mainstream school or nursery. He was then statemented as he started his first year at school. Within the first term, he went to a medium level, at the time it was called a medium level care special needs school. He was there for 5 weeks when the school came to me and said, we cannot meet your child's needs, his levels are far too high. And he was then moved over to Lyndale, and that's where he spent the remaining 5 terms. Sadly, he only had 5 terms there, but that's where he spent the 5 terms of his main educational life, was at Lyndale. So he actually did it in reverse to how most children do.
What I'd like to ask is that you were here on the evening of September 4th at the cabinet meeting. Obviously, regardless of the outcome on that day, were you surprised at all by the decision, not by the decision, the speed of the decision? And did you think there was full consultation before that decision was made?
I don't feel full consultation was made, no, and I was very surprised by the speed of the decision that was made.
I'm very sorry I kept you waiting. I'm very sorry I didn't call you earlier. It's okay, thank you. Thanks very much. Right, now we move on to the next part of the agenda, which is the witnesses for the cabinet member. And I understand that I did say that. Did say at the beginning that Lynn Wright would come at the end, because she's down in both parties' set of witnesses, and rather than take her twice, we'll have it at the end. But so we're moving on to the next set of witnesses now, which are David Armstrong, Andrew Roberts, and Julia Hassel. David Armstrong is Deputy Chief Executive, Andrew Roberts is a member of the Children and Young People's Department, and Julia Hassel is the Children's Services Director, and they asked if they could come up together. It seems a reasonable thing to do, and they will do their best to answer any questions between them. And can I start by asking her, but I've got 3 questions to ask. Paul.
Just quickly, a couple of points have been raised, obviously by parents and the like here this evening. Can I ask you, it was suggested that the option to keep Lyndale open was never considered. What was your comment on that, please?
I'll start in response to that. The option to keep Lyndale open was one of the 8 options. In terms of embarking on the consultation in the first place, where one of the options is potential to close a school, then the Director of Children's Services will bring that option forward to Cabinet in a report, but we have set out the other options as well. And so, in looking at all of the options, we did consider the option of Lyndale School remaining open, but as we set out in our initial Cabinet report, the falling role and the changes in the national funding arrangements did cause us to be concerned about the future viability of the school. I think it's also fair to say that we were mindful of the fact that there has been a question mark and concerns in respect of the school for a number of years. And so, in weighing up all the options and bringing this report to Cabinet, certainly my clear intent was to bring an end to the uncertainty for the children and the parents and future children and parents.
And a supplementary question. And Julie, so you raised the issue of the funding. Can I confirm my understanding that the way it comes about is central government gives guidelines, and that the actual formula which the council have been required to follow was actually set by the schools forum, it wasn't set by the council itself?
I'm going to ask Andrew to answer that.
The actual high needs formula is set by the council, but it's set on the advice of the schools forum, which itself is informed by an extensive consultation with schools.
The recommendations from schools forum to Cabinet to define the investment Cabinet. In my years of service in schools forum, Cabinet and its predecessor bodies have never rejected the recommendations from schools forum.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. What you're saying is that it was the recommendation of the schools board that came for approval, not as an order. Yes, I've got Paul and I've got Paul might be.
So just for clarity then, that the schools forum then is, because I don't 100% understand, where the schools themselves are represented and they make decisions over their own funding arrangements as funds are available. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, as funding became more delegated to schools, which is how management schools to place, at a point some years ago, nationally the schools forums was set up to give a representative body for all parties who receive funding through that formula. So it's early years right through to the sixth form college and the sixth form schools with sixth forms. They're all represented to various proportions on that body, and the idea is that they advise on a range of issues to be funded. Over the years, their powers have gradually been increased, and they're chaired by an independent person. It's not one of us. We service that.
Thanks, Chair. This goes to any of the 3. It's been suggested tonight that there could be a financial gain to the council, 2.7 million, if the land's subsequently sold, and then there's houses built on it. Has this ever been discussed by any of you or all of you? And is this ever been paramount to your heads that we're going to make a financial gain? 2.7 million?
I'll ask Dave.
We were asked that question at the first call. I made it clear that we haven't discussed down. We've been involved in a whole series of consultations with our schools, all of them very difficult. This one the most difficult because of the youth involved. I'm really pleased that the issue of the land hasn't been the dominant factor. We've been with debate and discussion of points where it will actually be about the youth. Just to take you through that, I'll repeat what I said at the last meeting. There are a series of ifs, a series of stages. If the school was determined for closure, the council's policy is that the council will, that the our department will ask the other departments of the council and anyone else to use for that site. If they didn't, we would then begin the process of disposal. To dispose of the site, we would need the Secretary of State's permission under the Academy Act, as the Secretary of State has powers to take a site which is vacant and use it for a preschool or an academy. If we obtain the Secretary of State's permission for that, it's not something we've done before, it's a recent piece of law, we would then have to go to Sport England and assure them and satisfy their requirements, because all of the school, excluding the building footprint, is classed as playing field. And if they gave their approval, and the school wasn't being used, and we had no other use for it, and we had those two approvals, clearly we could move to dispose of the site. If we move to dispose of the site, the law states, and I'm going to read it to you because I think it's important, the Advancement and Protection of Playing Field says that any income recovery, applications to the Secretary of State must set out the proposed financial implications, including the intended destination of any expected proceeds or benefits. The Secretary of State will expect the first priority for reinvestment should be sports facilities where they are needed by the school. That's on the basis that it might be a school going to sell part of its field. Then, specific capital projects to improve or enhance facilities at or for schools. So the council would not receive a capital windfall from this that it could spend elsewhere. The council would receive a capital windfall that could be used for the benefit of children at the schools. In terms of the valuation, that figure comes about because Ian Lewis, who was the councillor in Lewis, asked for a list of assets and their values. And he eventually obtained a list of assets. He should have obtained it sooner. It was not acceptable. He had to wait for the time he did. That was down to the council. He then asked for the valuations on that site. The figures that are next to that site on the council's assets are there purely for financial terms. I've been involved in school building since 1990. I wasn't aware of this. It's a financial accounting procedure. The value has to be put next to everything the council owns: plant, equipment, and sites. So the Britta has a value, the Walmart has a value, that site has a value. And the figure that was quoted was that figure that was next to that. It's a figure that's intended to broadly represent the value of the asset and the value of the land. In terms of the value of the land, while we're talking about it, if you look at the information that we can get available, because obviously some land sales are commercially confidential, the site would be worth in the range of $750,000 to $1.25 million. As I say, that whole process would have to be gone through, and if there was a capital receipt at the end of it, it would be reinvested into facilities.
Thank you.
My question is Julia Hassel, but I actually have a related question from David Armstrong. This has been mentioned. Just to go on this business and the value of the land and the building, I was with the councillor that asked the question on calling on the 27th of February, and you did say before that there's an awful, I think that's in Carlson Park, but they don't really know how to build. So, could you answer those two questions?
Yeah, well, as I said, the valuation of 2.7 million, which comprises two figures here, the estimated cost of the asset to replace it and the value of the land, they're not valuations of the site. The only sites the council has to provide a market valuation for in its annual accounts are sites that it's holding for sale and the sites that it holds for investment. So they're the only two categories, to me, that have to have a market value. So the figures quoted are not the value of the land. The figures quoted are part of a process which is called depreciated replacement cost method, which is used by the Chartered Institute of Public Finance and Accountancy and forms part of the accounts. There's no reason why I would need to know those figures in this job, which I've been in for a year, and there was absolutely no reason at all why I was responsible for the school assets for 24 years. It's not a value, it's an accounting process. In terms of the disposal of the sites, there is a distinction. If a site has not been used for a school for more than 8 years, if the field hasn't been used as a playing field for more than 10 years, you don't need the Secretary of State's permission. So in the case of Avon Lane, we can dispose of that site, we can generate the capital receipt, and then we can make proposals to you as members to invest that capital receipt in the council's remaining buildings. If it's less than that, we have to go through this process. And indeed, we have to demonstrate that the Poolton Park closure, or the building use of the park, we have to demonstrate that we invested that the receipt for Poolton, which was a modest receipt because it was a housing association, a very small site, that was invested into the school. The applications for Rock Ferry, we need to make an application for Foxfield, and Foxfield moves to its new site. We're in the process of putting those together. The landscape has changed because the Secretary of State has taken additional powers, and it's understandable. The Secretary of State wants to open additional preschools in the country, wants to open additional academies, and if there are empty school sites available, we can follow the logic that she now would want to have first call on those sites. So we haven't concluded that process, and we'll go through it. It doesn't feel a very simple process where we have time to do that. So.
Thank you very much, David. And my next question is Julia. A couple of questions that are all relevant. Is the Stanley School at capacity? Because there are various reports that we've got, and remember at which Stanley reaches capacity is because it's anything between 100, 110 and 120. Apparently it currently has 98. Is it at capacity?
School currently is at capacity, but there is a proposal to the next schools forum in the papers that we publish this evening to extend the capacity of that school.
When you say extend the capacity, is that just putting more children in to actually extend the building?
At this point, it's increasing the places, although I may ask David to add a little more to this. Throughout the consultation, there have been issues raised with us about whether there is capacity within Stanley School to accommodate children who currently attend the Lyndale School or future children with profound and multiple learning difficulties. And so there have been 2 site visits to look at the accommodation at the new Stanley School and look at whether there's capacity within the existing school or capacity to extend the school. And the visit took place within the last week to firm up how that might proceed. That's something David could say a little more about, if that would help.
I'd just like to concentrate on the last at the moment. So that visit is only taking place this week, and the consultation is finished.
Can I just clarify, there was a previous visit. This was a follow-up visit that took place last week.
Okay, so you would be happy from the visits that you've done for the children from the Lyndale to either go to Ellery Park or the Stanley School, is that right?
We'll be happy, not just from the visits that I've done personally, but from discussions with the head teacher at both Stanley School and Ellery Park School, from visits that have taken place, from consultation meetings that have taken place in both settings, where the head teachers were present and able to answer more specific questions, from a detailed set of questions that the parent governors gave me just before the consultation started, where they asked specific questions about the capacity and ability of both Stanley and Ellery Park School to meet the children's needs. And those questions were responded to via us, but directly by giving those questions to the head teachers of both schools. And there is a confidence from both head teachers and the staff teams that they can meet the children's needs. And I have confidence that with the planned development of both sites, that there is the capacity, the space to more than adequately respond to the children's needs.
So what you're saying is that we've got Lyndale School, which isn't at capacity, and there are places there. You've also got Ellery School and Stanley School that contain more children. So that's the situation, right? As I understand it. So why is it then that the local authorities spend 1.7 million per year on sending 46 rural children to West Kirby Residential School, which costs per head 36,000? This seems inequitable to me, as none of the maintained school, as a non-maintained school, is receiving more funding than from the LA than the Lyndale or any other school that I can see. And as you said, the Stanley School at Ellery Park is so fantastic. You can take children from Lyndale. Why don't the children from West Kirby go there?
Councillor Fraser, my understanding is that the bulk of the children that go to West Kirby Residential School are secondary school age children. There are very, very few primary school age children. These are, in effect, it is comparing apples and pears. These are children with different needs. These are not children with profound and multiple learning difficulties. They are not children with complex learning difficulties. They are children with emotional and behavioural difficulties.
Well, why don't they go to CLC schools then?
At the very start of the meeting, I've asked that everybody be treated with courtesy and respect, and that nobody felt intimidated by what was going on around us. Now, I understand that feelings run high on this, but can I repeat that request, please, that courtesy and respect is shown to everybody. And Councillor Fraser, would you like to bring
Thank you, Chair. So let me get this straight. Because the children at West Kirby have behavioural and emotional problems, they go to West Kirby. Lyndale has children with profound needs, but Stanley and Ellery have children that have needs that aren't as profound. So they're split into three. So you are quite happy to what's the better phrase, it's not ideal, but you're happy to lump together children with physical needs, but you separate children with behavioural needs. And it's also that you state up to 19. Couldn't Lyndale take children to 19 and have both types of children? If they both have needs, why are you splitting them up?
Okay, I'll try and answer it, but do come back if I'm not fully responding to your points. Taking children with complex learning difficulties and children with profound and multiple learning difficulties are children within that grouping, that broader grouping of children.